So what was it like to see the reaction to the twist, and especially in a world where a lot of shows wouldn't have had that because of the binge
Yeah.
model?
Yeah.
But this obviously caught on, and the marketing didn't reveal it.
Yeah.
I'll say real quick,
Yeah.
like the marketing team did a really good job
Yeah.
in terms of pre-releasing the pilot first,
Yeah.
and then releasing episodes 2 and 3 a couple days later. Is that how it went down?
Yep.
So they got a chance to digest just the pilot in and of itself, and just sort of be hanging and eagerly anticipating what was coming, and only having to wait a few days to see episodes 2 and 3. Like, I thought it was a really masterful way of sort of rolling the show out and then just doing it week by week after that, sort of creating this water cooler moment, which is hard to get, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's
they don't exist anymore. I think we got it a little bit on This Is Us. Game of Thrones really had it going like that, and now Paradise had a bit of a moment. So I want to just shout out and recognize the marketing team for that.
They had like great restraint, because we had a lot of conversations at the beginning of like, what would happen if The Sixth Sense came out today? Like, how would people walk into a movie theater and be surprised by that ending anymore without social media having ruined it for
Right.
almost everybody? And, I think we learned a bunch of things. One was that there is a responsibility online, especially from the people in the press and the media, to not put things in headlines. Like, if you're going to get something spoiled for you, you have to go click on the article and go searching for it,
Right.
hopefully, for the most part. And I think and then there was the strength of not marketing an apocalyptic kind of thriller in a bunker, and having the restraint to market it as a political thriller that has a surprise at the end of it.
Yeah.
And as people start buzzing, going, holy shit, have you seen the ending of this new show, Paradise? That markets itself. And I think there was like great restraint, even many weeks into the show starting, and you could feel it building. There was an appetite to maybe start expanding our marketing materials and including more of the final shot of the
surprise,
pilot.
right.
And I said, no, let's not do that yet, because it often takes me 3, 4,
People
5 weeks
find-
to get to a television
Yeah.
series. Like, I have to hear from enough of the people in my life who I respect that they liked it before I turn it on. And so it was it was a very thoughtful effort that required a lot of good fortune and good timing as well. So,
Worked out well.
yeah.
I wanted to ask, you've talked during a little bit about this idea of have and have-nots, and it seems like a very relevant thing today.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear from both of you a little bit about how you feel about the way it mirrors society currently, and how you feel about how people are interpreting it and taking that aspect of it, especially in season 2.
It's interesting because I know Dan came up with the idea like before even This Is Us. So I think for him, and you'd let me know, like it was sort of an escapist sort of thing that sort of like wasn't necessarily intended to parallel the world in which we live right now. And then when it came out, it seemed like, oh God, that was eerily prescient. You know what I'm saying? I'm having a tough time right now with the world, and that doesn't. I'm sure that's most people are having a tough time right now with the world and the way things tend to be going within the United States, et cetera. I'm not going to get overly political. You just asked the question, like, there is something to be said about when is enough enough? You know, there's this sort of test that study that says like after $75,000, I think for the country by and large, your happiness goes up minimalistically with each increasing dollar. I'm not going to get too political. Get upset. Go ahead. What are you going to say? He's much more polished with this thing.
I love that.
No, I mean that is what it's about. It's about, it was initially exemplified by a man of extreme power, the president of the United States, a billionaire in this show, and then the guy who's paid to literally take a bullet from him, for him. I think that I think it's very clear that there's two different experiences of living in our country right now, and what it still is very much defined by things like race and gender, but at the very forefront now is like there's this economic disparity between the kind of top 1.01% and everybody else. And, I mean, I grew up as a kid in like solidly middle class Pittsburgh, which is like kind of what the family in This Is Us was set. And my mom was notoriously both cheap and a bit mentally ill about money. So like, growing up in a house where you're always worried about everything, like when the bill would come, if my dad ordered a Coke at dinner, it was like the air got sucked out of the room. And it's the whole thing is confusing. Figuring out in Los Angeles where you're going to put your kids into school, like these things are in front of us everywhere on both sides, and so this was like an extreme sci-fi look at that that break. And I don't know what we're actually quite saying about it yet. Hopefully by the end of the series, I think we will have said something. But if I was only up through the first season right now, clearly the billionaires on our show aren't great, but I also believe that there's huge opportunity with people with great wealth and ability and skill to do good for the world. They're not all they shouldn't all be mustache twirling villains who are just hoarding gold in their basement of their Fort Knox homes, even though that's how, with a broad brush, they can be painted in this season. And I think we'll start exploring all the sides of that in the seasons to come.
Go on.
Yeah.
So the first season was completed before any audience saw it.
Correct.
But now you've seen how certain things resonate with the audience. Was
Yeah.
there anything that you focused on more because you saw that audiences
question.
really?
That's a really
It's a
good
good
question.
question.
And the strange dynamic of creating a show that is kind of captures a portion of the zeitgeist and becomes a little bit of a hit, which is like, how do I calibrate for like what people are responding to in the show while not just chasing something to make more of it. It's where sitcoms can go bad eventually. It's like that funny, wacky character, people like him, so let's make him funnier and wackier. And by the time you get to season 12, like you no longer recognize that as a human being, right? So like on This Is Us, the challenge was, holy shit, people are really emoting and having a kind of emotional reaction to this television show. You have to guard against like, I'm just gonna like give every puppy in the show cancer and it'll make people really cry, right? And on this show, puppy cancer.
Lord,
it's the saddest kind of
that's
cancer.
very
yeah.
sad.
And so yeah, I mean, I think it was very clear to us that people have responded to the show, to the propulsiveness and the twists and turns, and they love the cast. And so the good news is that was always part and parcel of what we were planning on doing more of in the second season, but you're mindful of it. I mean, in this case of the show, it's really exciting and nerve-wracking for me because we're coming out with a second season of the show that I believe is equally artful, and I'm really proud of it already. But it's different. It's the next chapter of a television show instead of like just the next chapter of the same. Like Sterling is no longer in the world that we lived in for the first season of the television. That alone tells you like the season now is going to expand upon itself.
Yeah.
And that can become a little nerve-wracking because there's inevitably going to be people going, where's the murder mystery of James Bond? Like, we can't do that again. He's dead. We figured it out,
Yeah.
And so, but it's also really exciting.
It's the
because
librarian.
It was the librarian.
Yeah.
We have time for one more
yeah.
question. So, will you still look for ways to keep fan favorites like James as president and also Billy Pace alive in the story going forward?
Yeah. I'm told I'm not allowed to speak about that,
Okay.
which kind of is your answer in and of itself, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, like that's the hardest part of killing characters is that, holy shit, we really love those actors, and what are we going to do without them? But you have to resist the temptation to put people in for no reason. So if they come back, hopefully there's a real reason for it. This show does play in time in a similar way to the way This Is Us did, so it allows for it without it being like, oh wait, Billy had a twin, and like that's how we use the actor again. We don't have to do that.
Two dead dads alive for six
6
seasons
years.
of
That's what I do.
television.
That's what I do.
No one would be surprised.
And then we have, with the loss of those characters, no matter whether they come back or not, that provides more real estate. And in this particular season, we have new characters entering the fold that I think by the end of the second season we'll be as invested in as the characters who came before them. So.
Oh yeah.